Welcome to KT Confidential. This is episode 25. Can you believe it? So on today's episode, we have Jen, that's me, and Christopher chatting with boss man Ariel in the background over there. We talk about grass and wedding stuff and team outings. Enjoy.
All right, well, let's get right to it. Episode 25.
Yes.
And Adrian was kind enough to provide us with this Jack Daniel's barrel-aged rye. I haven't seen it before, but we're all sampling it for this podcast, so it should be a little good afternoon boost.
Not bad.
Jen has added her espresso on the side as a little shooter, I guess. So cheers.
Cheers.
It's actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for sitting in on this podcast. Random.
Very random.
So you guys brought up a couple of things today that I thought made for good chat. We're in May and slowly the tides are turning here with the weather.
Very slowly.
Very slowly. The ground is still wet, so you can't really do any planting or veggie gardens or any of that. But it is an important time for lawn care, and I know based on your past homes that you are I don't know what the word would be. Lawn aficionado?
Green thumbed.
Green thumb?
Oh,
you have a
Betty
bit
green
of a
thumb.
a bit of a green thumb.
I think I have more selfies of my grass than kids in the summer months sometimes.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. We all enjoy spending a little time outdoors, and you like to have a nice looking lawn, nice looking garden.
Yeah.
And based on your the success of the sale of your last home, you did well with that.
Yeah,
So.
although I drove past my old house the other day. I was in the neighborhood visiting, and they used my grass as a parking driveway.
Oh, no, because they wanted the double wide.
Well, you could do. I guess it was a little tighter, but I had a message from an old neighbor weeks ago saying, "Don't come by and look at your grass." Which, of course, when I was in the neighborhood, I went by and looked at my grass, and single tier, many hours, hand weeding every night, and gone.
Oh, no.
So on that topic of weeds, you were mentioning that you've got a little bit of a debate at home.
Yeah, I want to spray this year. I had some I spent more time weeding last year than I would have liked. When I moved into the new house, I had weeds.
Oh, that
everywhere.
was brutal. I haven't seen anything like that before. The whole backyard was just covered in deep-rooted weeds.
Just pure neglect.
That's terrible.
Yep. Oh. So
that's our 1-800 number. So,
I'm so
it's
glad.
dialing everybody right now. Hello. Good thing Adrian's here.
Yeah.
No, but weeds, like crazy neglect in the backyard to the point where they had to get someone to cut them down. But of course, you cut them down and they're still going to come back up. Yeah. So what I did is I rented a 8 horsepower rototiller meant for clearing fields. Went down 3 feet, sprayed everything with a Roundup, tried to kill everything, but still not much. But stuff is still coming through my the sod I laid. So rather than spending time weeding this year, I want to do a couple spray applications, and hopefully I won't have to do it again.
So what would you spray with?
I want to get someone in to do it who knows that weed variety that can actually target that. I'm not sure what it's called, but the type of weed I'm having issues with. Issue I have is kids, dog, environmental concerns.
Mm-hmm.
We obviously don't want to do anything harmful, but I still want green grass. So it's kind of a debate in my house right now.
Have you used professionals in the past to manage your lawn?
I've always done it myself.
Yeah.
I figure I just wanted to get someone in who knows exactly what I'm dealing with because it was so bad. Target it, eliminate it, and then my grass is full enough, thick enough. I do the regular maintenance that it shouldn't be an issue going forward. But one thing I find though, especially I won't want to single out Milton. I think it's true of most people. I find that people either care about their grass or don't. Mm-hmm. There's not really
in between.
There's not as hard because of the cities obviously aren't spraying anymore because of environmental concerns, and not that you should spray really anyways. But it's funny. You have green, brown, or no weeds, and then that one weed spot kind of infects everything too, right? So that's the challenge I find.
So You did something really smart, actually, when you moved into your new house. You created a little, like almost like a dog run for Gus, right?
Yeah, I was so annoyed at my last house that I would seed every year. I would overseed.
Because he was doing his business.
Yeah, he's doing
on the
his
grass.
business. He's a big dog too, so it's hard to when he pees. But he'd always in the winter, I'd actually fence off one area for him to go. So I kind of made a dog run, but it was on my grass, and it actually killed the area so bad, nothing grew there again. So because I rototillered everything, I kind of planned the new backyard, I made a dog run for him. So I used a really nice cedar fencing, lattice, and I built him steps to go down. I put pea gravel down. I did quite a bit, so it actually wouldn't sit on the surface and it wouldn't smell. And he has his own dog run.
What do you do for Halo?
We actually did the same thing because he ruined our grass twice. It's great because he's a large dog as well. So, it's a lot that comes out of them. So
it's annoying though. It's like about what do? You don't want to walk him every day. If it's raining or something, you just want to open the door.
Absolutely.
But you also want to try and control where they go.
Yeah, and it's true because once the winter hits and then you get all that snow, like our backyard
Just keep talking.
Gets we get inundated with snow in our backyard. So between him going out there, plus we have a little dog, between the two of them, and then adding in all that snow and all the ice on top of it, it was challenging. So by the second round of grass, I was like, we're not doing this anymore. So we did the same thing with pea gravel.
Yeah, I figured the money.
By the way, this is the first podcast that we're actually drinking in, I think.
Very wonderful.
I think it's
Friday.
I think it's good.
Happy Friday.
But it is.
Oh, great. Now we're going to have to post this today.
We'll just date stamp it.
Yeah.
But to, the money I spent putting in the run, which wasn't a great expense, but I figure I would save it long term and just time and aggravation years down the road. And it's so far so good. I mean, he uses it. My grass, except for some odd weeds that pop up, super green.
Nice.
Yeah.
Our front, we actually had really nice grass in our front because it's not a lot that we have in our front lawn. But because we're right on, kind of off of Thompson, we had, when they cut the grass there, all of the weed, I guess the pollen kind of filtered over and we got tons of weeds last year. So my neighbor and Gavin went and they were trying to actually physically take out the weeds so that we can try to grow some better grass this year because we were just so annoyed with all the weeds that came through.
The front yards are so small in Milton. Like you pretty much hardscaped everything in your yard, right?
Yeah.
So
well, I got screwed with my because my particular layout, and you've both been to my home. We have the double car garage, which is staggered. So in Milton, it's really challenging because when we bought, it was pre-construction. We didn't know even where the sidewalk was going, whatever. But because of the staggered garage and the sidewalk, you can't park on the staggered part of the garage.
Parking.
I have a 1-car parking, so which didn't work for me because we have a ton of crap, and I just like the convenience because I might be at home, at 2:00, but need to leave at 2:45, right? So I'm in and out of the house all the time, as you guys know. So I like parking outside. But in the winter times, I obviously love the convenience of parking inside. So what I did was looking good landscaping. Dave, the owner there, he's done a lot of work for us in the past, and he created essentially a walkway / parking pad so I can park sideways there, and even the X5 fits there. And then he planted some very low maintenance plants around there. They were actually just poking through in the last week through the mulch. So I haven't really, the only grass is on my boulevard and then another little stretch and very, very low maintenance. So, and this is a topic that we're going to hear a lot about now or talk about a lot ourselves because a lot of homeowners need to do that work in order to sell.
Yeah, absolutely.
First impression is everything. And so it's important for us to be educated on, practices, or if we have good contacts of people that can take care of things. We have a guy that comes around on a regular basis, Matt Fuller of Fuller Landscaping here in Milton. He takes care of the grass and the gardens for us, does a great job. But a lot of people don't make that investment on a regular basis. And then when they're getting ready to sell, they have to
It's a rush.
Yeah,
it's a
and
rush,
it goes
right?
to that first impression, right? When you are going to sell, that's your landscaping, your front curb appeal.
Absolutely.
That's huge when people want to get that warm and fuzzy. If their mind, if you don't take care of it, what else are they taking care of? Or they just see work, and you obviously don't want that.
Regardless of how good the house looks on the inside,
Absolutely.
if the outside of the house does not look tip top and is well maintained and has that good curb appeal, you've already taken a step back from a selling standpoint and have to really work that prospective buyer up to get that warm and fuzzy feeling.
And not only that, though, I value quite a bit my neighbor's property as well. So that community feel, if both your neighbors park on their grass consistently, or they don't just upkeep or just weeds, not that it's going to have a huge impact, but that can affect the amount of people, that can affect your property value. That can affect the people that want to look at your property. Because again, they think, what type of neighbors am I getting?
I remember we listed one property here in Milton, and the neighbors were known by pretty well everybody on the street as being junk hoarders. And on the side of the house, just tons of crap. The front lawn not well maintained. So when we listed our client's property right next door, which was beautifully maintained, the one consistent feedback that we got from most visitors to the property was, who lives next door and why is all that trash out there, right?
Yeah.
So absolutely, your neighbors can have a big effect on what the value of your home is and the upkeep.
So it is funny though, because I notice it, because I am that guy outside and I'm fiddling around. Even though my typical Milton front yard's not large, I still like to, maintain it. But it's funny. I overseed it. I put the new mulch down, and then neighbor beside me does it. And then another neighbor does it. It's the time of year as well. But it's funny how lawn care and gardens and those little things, and even things like Christmas lights, one person puts it up and it kind of trickles down the street. So I think lawn care is like that as well. When one person sees it, they don't want to be the one person that doesn't do it.
So Jen doesn't care about lawns, which is why she's been a little bit quiet. I saw Chris brought you
He did.
He brought you a little gift today.
He did. He brought me a little surprise.
I didn't see what. Was this just a spur of the moment thing? Was there actually some thought given to it?
There was a little bit of thought. I knew. Actually, I think but my sister-in-law.
Make sure you're talking.
My sister-in-law makes bridal gifts and stuff. So I found out you were getting married. I gave her a call up and wanted her to make you something for me to for your day.
And I absolutely love it. It's so nice. I'm gonna go and get it.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Okay.
Such a kiss ass.
Yeah. Well, Jen does a lot for us, so.
She does. She does do a lot of things for you guys that most realtors have to deal with, but you have the benefit of her services as well. Mm-hmm. Now, does your Jennifer know about this gift?
Yeah, I told her.
Because she might think something's going on, Very cute. Look at that.
I absolutely love it. I can't wait.
I know previous podcast you guys were talking about side hustles and making more money, or if you can't make more money, do something else to do it. And my sister-in-law started doing that, making hangers years ago, just out of
says Mrs. Singh.
Yeah, a gift for her friends, I think. And over the years, she's gotten pretty good at it.
Yeah, it looks absolutely amazing. I want to actually order some for my girls for the wedding as well, just as a little gift to them and something that they can put their dress on. It's so beautiful.
That's actually really impressive.
Yeah. It's funny though. She when she started off, they were good, but they weren't that good, to the point where she actually remade my wife's for her just because she has gotten a lot better at her process and doing it. She's probably done thousands of them now, but they're great for photos. Like one of Jen's favorite photos we have, because we got married in Dominican, was her wedding dress hanging amongst palm trees and black and white with just kind of that, right? So it's
how thoughtful. You're not as big of an asshole as I thought.
Right? So nice.
I like to try.
Absolutely love it. It looks so good. She did an amazing job. I can't wait to call her and ask her for some more.
Yeah, we'll plug the company in the description.
Well, I'm going to plug it in right now. It's Future Misses by Custom Hangers and Gifts. And it's Jen Behe. Well, Jen's just an amazing name. So
There's so many Jens in my life. It's unbelievable.
It's like me and Steve's.
Oh. What's funny though with how names are changing. So like my wife is Jen, your work Jen. I have a sister-in-law Jen. My wife and my sister-in-law are both teachers in Halton. My wife's mother-in-law is Jen, so I can't get around. It's such a common name. Funny though, my sister-in-law she didn't want her kids to go through the same thing, so they named with their girl they named her Isla. Isn't that the most popular name out there right now? You can't go to a play center without hearing it. So
really, that's funny.
So it's the new Jen.
It's the new Jen.
So how's everything else with you're 6 weeks away or so from your wedding?
Is it 6 weeks? No, it's a little bit more than 6 weeks. Don't give me a heart attack. I'm like panic central right now.
Is it all planned and wrapped up, or you still have lots to do?
I still got a lot of shit to do. It's been interesting. It's been an experience, that's for sure. We had our stag and doe a couple of weeks ago now. That was a lot of fun. And I had a lot of stress with that. And then
how many people showed up to that?
About 100, a little over 100.
That's good.
Yeah. And the wedding, we're looking about 250.
250 to the wedding.
Yeah.
Wow.
You are Portuguese.
And that's us like having to like cut out a lot of people because that's the venue's max capacity, which has been a blessing and a curse. Because, we've seen other venues where you can hold 500 people, but it's like 7 or 8 venues in one. And I'm like, do I really want to be around 7 or 8 different weddings at the same time?
So when are you doing all this planning? On the weekends, after work?
After work, pretty much.
You're not taking much time off for the wedding, I hope.
Not right after the wedding. Maybe a little bit afterwards for the honeymoon. I'll
No
break the news to
honeymoon.
him later.
It's here in Milton.
You guys
I'm staying at the
you guys have been
campground.
dating too long. There's no honeymoon.
I know, right? It's going to be 11 years this year.
Wow.
11 years. I know. I couldn't believe it either. It's like 11? It's flown by, but it's been great.
Are you guys planning a honeymoon?
We are planning a honeymoon. Well, it hasn't really much been planned. We know we want to go to Portugal. That's the extent of how far we've gone.
You're only allowed 5 more days.
5 more days? Okay. I'll have to let Gavin know. So maybe we'll stay local instead. We will stay in Milton.
Milton honeymoon.
Where are you going? We're the local Holiday Inn.
That sounds awful.
Have you guys ever been to the KOA campgrounds over by Kelso there where they have the cabins that you can rent?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Is that a hint?
No, I haven't. And I want to check them out.
Sounds like a vlog.
Yeah, maybe we rent a couple of cabins.
KT goes camping. That actually would probably be hilarious.
It probably would be.
That's not a bad idea.
No,
I
definitely
like
not.
it.
Yeah.
That would be a good team outing. Well,
That would be fun.
Cam is going camping next month,
June 14th.
June 14th, 15th. So you can
Exciting.
come back with some tips for us maybe. I
Yeah,
don't
let
know.
us know.
Do some s'mores and roast some marshmallows. That would be fun.
It would be fun.
We're trying to go camping this year with, we haven't been for years because the kids have just been too young and, with super young kids, it just sounds like the worst thing in the world. But now they're a little older. They're only now the one's only napping once a day. We're trying to get out there again this year.
Nice.
Yeah,
Gavin loves camping. I hate camping.
it's funny.
bugs.
People either love it or hate it. There's
I
no in between
hate
with
it.
camping.
I remember the first time I said to Natalie, let's go camping. And she said, okay. There was only one divide. There was a divide between what I know as camping and what she thought I meant by camping.
Like Holiday Inn, she thought, or you thought?
Holiday Inn, more like the Fairmont. She thought like, can I go to the day spa?
I was like, Jen, the first time I went camping, she didn't realize there wasn't a washroom immediately beside us. And walking at night a kilometer to find then she asked where the showers were, and it was like,
Jump in the lake.
Yeah.
pretty much. So
Yeah.
my camping has changed quite a bit, and especially with kids now. But it's still nice to get out and experience that.
So the first time that we went camping, I rented a cottage,
So not camping at all.
right?
That's my kind of camping, though. I'm not going to lie.
Well, we had been dating for maybe 8 months or so. And I rented what I know or knew as a cottage. And, it's 300 square feet, if that. Everything wood, old, kind of grimy, grungy.
Yeah, traditional cottage.
Traditional cottage. Yeah, no, that wasn't.
Did fly.
It sort of did because we had fun and.
So good thing it
had a
wasn't
few
your
drinks.
first excursion away together.
I know.
Could have been
right?
your last.
Yeah, could have been. So needless to say, the next cottage we rented was a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
And so that's my camping story. But yes, I like that idea of maybe renting a couple of cabins here at the local KOA. And
yeah, I'm down with the cabin. It's the tent thing that I don't do. And Gavin calls it glamping now because I won't go.
Gavin wants a boat, right?
Gavin wants a lot of things that I'm not willing to be okay with right now. Maybe after the wedding. After the wedding's okay, but right now...
Have you guys thought about moving at all?
I have thought about it.
Especially now that you've been working with us for almost a year, so you've seen tons of nice, beautiful properties.
Oh, I have. He has. He's like, so I saw this property you guys put on the market, and I'm like, yeah, what? No, don't look at it. You're fine.
So, but you have thought about it.
I've thought about it. I thought about either moving or maybe purchasing something else as maybe an additional income, like for a rental income.
Because I helped you guys buy that house back in 2012.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's been 7 years almost.
It's been 7 years.
And at that time, you guys said that it was kind of like a stepping stone.
It was.
You want to make some money on it and then use that to get a detached home, a little bit bigger, maybe a double car garage.
Oh, definitely. Maybe bigger than a double car garage so Gavin can have like some sort of shop. Because he enjoys working on cars.
Since 2012, you would have quite a bit sitting there.
Equity.
It's a little bit. It's a little bit.
Yeah, you guys did quite well on that property.
We got lucky that we started looking and we did the move when we did, because then, a few years later, there was the huge skyrocket in 2017.
Yeah.
And then, been contemplating back and forth, but then we decided to get married and actually set a date.
So, we don't have to talk about numbers here, but how much is this wedding costing you? Would it be between $50,000 and $75,000?
As of right now, that's what my budgeting is, but that's just the wedding. That's not even including the stag and dough.
Right. So hopefully the 250 people that are going to your wedding aren't complete cheap asses and you recover most of that money. Is that what you're hoping for?
I think that's the hope, but it's...
Does any of your family and friends listen to our podcast?
I should actually ask them.
Do not be a cheap ass at Jen's wedding.
You know what?
She is broke and needs a new home.
So poor, I do. I need a second house. But you know what? At the end of the day, we know that we're not going to make it back. You always know you're not going to make it all back. You want people there that you love. You want to make sure that they all have a good time. And at the end of the day, that's kind of been taken over.
It's a party.
Everything.
That's
what it is.
Right?
It's a massive party. We get everybody from both sides together. And I think that's literally what I'm so excited about, because there's just so much family that hasn't met each other between all the cousins. Like Gavin's dad is like one of 9. He's got tons of brothers and sisters. They all have kids who now have also kids. And
how many siblings does Gavin have?
Gavin's an only child.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, it makes a lot of sense why we get along so well.
Yeah. You guys do get along really well.
250 people. How many people? Oh, you had a destination wedding.
We went away.
Dominican, right?
Yep.
And would you do a destination wedding again?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very reasonable for what you actually spend. And you definitely cut people out. So that was the big draw. But we found at the end of the day, we had our parents there, we had our siblings there. So the people that, mean the most to you. And it was awesome weather.
What resort?
We were at Paradisus Punta Cana.
Very nice.
Actually, I think it was about 4 resorts down from where Adrian
they had theirs at the Hard Rock. That was I went to that with Nat, and that was quite good.
Yeah, we had a party. Mother-in-law and father-in-law were nice enough to host a party when we got back. So like my grandparent, like my grandma, her grandparents, people that physically couldn't travel.
The rise started to kick in for him.
Could be there.
Grandma.
Yeah, but absolutely. Just for the cost alone, though, I'd recommend a destination for sure.
have you guys done a lot of all-inclusive trips have you taken your boys away?
No.
It's something you're considering?
We didn't want to when they were napping like twice a day. So now that Clay's down to one a day, it didn't sound like a lot of fun traveling with 2 kids under the age of 3.
I see a lot of people traveling with young kids.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine, Steve Foliato, he just got back from a trip with his, I don't know how old his daughter is now, about 6 months, and his wife. And he said they had a great time. They got
they call it a baby moon. Because your child travels free under 2.
That's just it. Get it out while you can.
And with one, so I know a lot of people that will travel like right after, especially the first kid.
Yeah.
They'll travel with them when they're still napping, and you can just put them in a stroller or you can carry them around.
Well, I think they did a smart thing. They got an upgraded suite with a swim out.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, that's great.
Right. So in the swim out in this particular resort, and it's actually the resort that they got married in last year.
Yeah.
Last year or the year before? The year before. Full service to the swim out rooms. So you can be in the pool and you get the food and the drinks delivered to you while you're in the pool. So kids sleeping, you just go out to the back patio and go for a dip. And
it's amazing.
I would have considered it with 1, not 2 kids. Not when they were still both in diapers and both napping. That would have seemed like more work than vacation for me.
It's a lot, especially all of the things that you have to take with you.
Yeah,
I was just about to say that. Like that in itself is just a massive. I wish you luck.
Yeah, we did staycations for just took off work, and Jen's a teacher, so she's often just planned day trips or overnights, and even that was more work than I'd like to put in for that stuff.
You guys spent quite a bit of time together this morning. You went to a new property we listed today. How did that go?
Did. Went actually really smoothly. Everything kind of fell into place really well. Marianne was like awesome.
So for people that don't know, that are listening, on the day of listing, the day we list a property for sale, we have a bit of a process, and you play a huge part in that, and you do a great job. So tell people a little bit about what you do on the day of the listing.
It's a big day. I mean, aside from getting it live on all the boards and making sure it's up to par and looks amazing.
That's a lot of work to do that properly. And because I used to do it for the team, and thank God you took that over. But it requires a lot of attention to detail. You got to make sure the photos look good, that they're in the right order, the description of the property, the measurements, what's included, what's excluded, the all of the details that go into an offer, the land description, the property taxes. There's so much information that goes on behind the scenes that the public doesn't actually see.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you have to duplicate that because we process the listing on multiple boards. So our properties get a lot of exposure that way. And then we have our 2 websites, our own website, KormendyTrott.com, and then our Century 21 site. We post it on Facebook, on Instagram. So there's all that. So that's a lot of work in itself.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then I always go back and make sure I'm always checking and rechecking and triple checking my work just to make sure everything's accurate and perfect and it looks great and it's ready to go live. And then when we go to the house, just making sure.
Well, I just want to stop you there for a second before you even get to the house, because we talked about first impression earlier on in this show. And that's actually not the first impression anymore, because the first impression for people now buying a house is online.
Absolutely.
Like, how do the photos look? How's the description of the property? Does it look good enough for me to actually go to the property?
Absolutely.
Well, not that though. I'm just working on we're going to be doing a listing for a village home, and right now in Milton there's 38 of them posted for sale right now. So if you're one of 38, pretty nondescript homes, how are you going to stand out? And that picture is everything.
Yeah.
And then you take a great picture, you make sure it stays properly, it's edited nicely. And now you want to make sure your expectations, when someone walks in that door or pulls up, your expectations are met, right? So it's really important that everything comes together. So many times I hear people go to an open house, or I take a client to an open house, and they say, well, it wasn't what we were expecting. And that's not always a good thing.
Yeah. I experienced that when we were looking at houses. I was like, that doesn't look like the picture
looks great.
It looked really nice in the picture. It's
like so online dating, right?
Yeah, exactly. So once you
not that any of us had to.
No. Thank goodness.
Online dating was after our time.
Well, especially now with all these
goodness.
Photo apps. So when take a picture, it's like two different people sometimes.
It's like way too much now. I'm like, no, I don't know how you people do this.
No,
can I change you for the Snapchat version of you?
Okay, Snapchat version is always so much better though.
Okay, so you go to the house.
Yes.
And then what?
So I go to the house. I'll make sure it looks amazing. So we're making sure that everything is in its place. It looks perfect. Tabletop stands, they're highlighting things that you might not see right off the bat. So it'll highlight things like maybe an alarm system, maybe a humidifier in the home, maybe certain appliances that have just freshly come in and they have a warranty on them, stuff like that. And so we'll bring that in, plus our floor plan. That'll go right at the front of the door. It's usually in a nice little area, but that way they can see the floor plan right away and they see the layout of the house. And they're not that you wander, but at least you know where you're wandering towards.
So you got that all set up today?
Absolutely. Arlo camera.
You got the brochures.
Brochures looked amazing.
Yeah, they did look amazing. Did you see that front picture?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I looked amazing. Marianne was so happy. She's like, these are beautiful.
And not only that, though, a huge thing that you do when you're there is homeowners are often there, and their homes going to market. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of stress, and having someone like you who's always so bubbly and nice and kind. And
you're gonna have to train him to talk into his mic.
Oh, sorry.
I know it's hard because when you're talking with somebody,
but having someone like you is fantastic for the homeowner to have there to help them, another person to help them through the process.
Yeah, I will stroke your ego a little more. The clients are typically very happy with the work you're doing. So you guys also got the speaker set up today, the camera installed.
Yep.
Gave him access to the camera.
I haven't given her access yet. I have to do that this afternoon.
Well, let's stop the podcast right now.
End it now.
Yeah. All the signage is up, like open house signage is up for today.
The for sale sign is up. And we've had the coming soon flag up for about a week now, so it generates the interest around the property as well.
Yeah, actually, I've got a couple of interested potential buyers that saw the property as they were driving by and had some questions.
Well, that flag's important because unless you tell your immediate neighbors, nobody actually knows you're going to go to market. So
funny you should say that because poor Chris in the rain, pouring rain.
It actually wasn't raining. I timed it in between the rain. Knocked on some doors, made people know that there was an open house and their neighbors wanted them to come through to see if they. So our neighborhood open house is tonight. So I'm sure we're going to have a couple, neighbors through to take a peek and let us know what they think about the property. But one thing I think is it's just not one thing. We have such a process that goes around, and it's weeks up to, and it kind of all comes together, and it's I'll say usually, but it always tends to come together really nicely because everything is planned so well.
Well, and I think we're all doing a good job of listing day. That's why I started talking about that, because you guys were gone for a while. It's a lot of people don't know that the day that a property gets listed for sale, there is a ton of work that happens behind the scenes.
Definitely.
And, the house that you were at today, actually, I'll tell you a funny story. They actually interviewed several different realtors, and I met with them on I want to say it was on a Wednesday night. In fact, it was a Wednesday night. And one of the realtors that they met with, which I believe it was the night before, wanted to have the property on the market for open houses that weekend.
What?
Yeah, something about capitalizing on the spring market. And this was now about 6 weeks ago or so. So sure enough, in those 6 weeks, the values have gone up, as I predicted. But can you imagine if on a Tuesday night I came into the office the next morning and said, we're going to list a property on before the weekend and have it up for open houses on Saturday, Sunday.
Not only that, though, the home was very presentable before.
Yeah.
It's a model home now.
Oh, so yeah. Now you walk into the house, buyers will walk into that home this weekend and I'm curious to see what the feedback will be. I'll be at the open house a little bit as well, but you walk in there and you immediately get the sense, and you're right, the home was nice. It was very clean, very presentable, but now it has elevated to that show home.
It was nice before. Yeah. Now it's wow.
Yeah.
Which is the difference.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So thanks for your help with that.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
We had we had a lot on the go this morning, so I couldn't attend the meeting, but or the property, but
that's okay.
You guys took good care of it on my behalf.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the open houses.
Yeah, I think it's been really great.
Yeah, and I think that's the kind of home that gets a lot of attention because it's at the right price point. It's actually a big house too, right?
It's a great layout. I love that layout. In fact, just because it gives you an open concept, but it has designated spaces.
Well, we were talking about this the other day. It's very, very similar to your house.
Yeah, and that's coming from a house that was completely open concept. I wanted to go the other way, and I find a lot of people like that. You want something, and then you live in it, and you're like, it's not what it's always cracked up to be. So the front room is set up as a front room right now. Great sitting space. Could easily be an office, could easily be a playroom, but it's a separate space people can go to. There's a formal dining room, and then you have your living room, dining, like family room, kitchenette area. So it's a great layout.
I want to ask you a question. So now you're in the full swing of being a productive realtor. Bit of a long time coming because you started the process about almost a year and a half ago or so, maybe more.
Yeah, something like that.
You came from the auto industry where you were a top producing sales manager, and of course you learned from the best. How are you finding the adjustment? So this weekend you have open houses.
Yes.
Our open houses on Saturday and Sunday are from 2 to 5 p.m. So it really requires you to be working from 1 to 6. Essentially, you have a 5-hour open house window because
absolutely.
You got to get your signs out. You got to be prepared, set the house up, make sure everything's looking good. A lot of times people stay in the home after 5 o'clock, so you're there a little bit longer.
Yep,
you got to
like
close everything up.
Follow-up calls right afterwards.
You do the follow-up calls. Thank everybody who's been coming in. So it's eating, 5-6 hours of your day, and that's if you don't have any other appointments or any offers or anything on the go. This job has a little bit of more flexibility. So if you're working on the weekends a lot, maybe you take a little time off on a Wednesday morning or whatever. How are you finding that? How's your family finding that?
We really like it. I mean, the biggest change is from, as you know, especially running a dealership, there's always people coming at you. So the biggest change I found is that in terms of my day is before I could kind of had a to-do list. I had daily goals, checked them off as I went, and I made sure those were done at the end of the day. And I dealt with all the fires and everything in between. Now I block my day. So mornings is usually my time, get the kids out to daycare, have some downtime. And then I'll do calls in the morning. I like doing those at home just because, we're all here. So I come in, do some emails, check the markets, touch base with current clients. So I block my day now. I no longer let the day come to me. Otherwise, you just don't get what you want done. So when I'm doing my emails, I'm doing my emails. When I'm doing my phone calls, I'm doing my phone calls. When I'm out, I really schedule everything now. Even
really important as a realtor.
Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, it's really easy to do
drift.
Do nothing.
Yep.
Things come up all the time, but I find that to be productive in this type of environment, this field, you have to be really disciplined with your calendars.
If a realtor wants to go from being just an average producer to a top producer, the difference between the two are the average producer is letting the day just drift.
Absolutely.
Just go with the flow. Top producers have scheduled events throughout the day, whether it's making calls, prospecting, networking, things like that. That's the difference. It's got to be in the calendar. I preach that to you guys a lot. It's got to be in the calendar. It's got to be consistent. And there's so many aspects of that, but I was just curious because I know one of the reasons that you transitioned into this industry was to have a little bit more flexibility. And that's tough sometimes because people don't understand that in the automotive industry, especially as a top performing sales manager, you're stuck to your desk at the dealership for hours upon hours upon hours a day. I remember many, many days being, 8 a.m. till 10 o'clock at night and not being able to leave the office.
Well, the best example I can give right now is James will be going into junior kindergarten next year. Tuesdays, there's a library program that gets them gets them in the school. They get to take out 2 library books, and every other week there's a craft.
That's a nice program.
It's 3:15 to 4:15. My calendar is 3:15 to 4:15. That's my time with him. I pick him up, I take him there, and then that hour and 20 minutes until Jen comes home, that's kind of our time right now. And I know it. If someone wants an appointment at 3:15, I easily just go before, go after, and it's blocked in unless something absolutely crucial comes up.
Yeah.
But that's the best part to me is being able to not work less, not work not as hard, but just be able to pick my times and schedule around my work
and
balance.
Really, from a realtor's perspective, what's happening on a Tuesday between 3:15 and 4:15 for most realtors, it's zero.
Yeah.
For us, it might be something's on the go, but it's nothing that you can't do
schedule
around
else.
it, right?
Exactly.
And he will probably grow up really appreciating that consistent and regular time. How are you finding the transition? So you've been with us for about a year, almost closing in on a year.
Almost a year.
And you had a really good job. We had to lure you away. You were an important piece of the puzzle in your previous company. Mm-hmm. You were a Monday to Friday gal, mm-hmm. And you are here too. You have your weekends off for the most part. Haven't started to ask you to work weekends yet. But here, so we have a company policy for all of our employees, except for Cam, who's never on time. That you can come and go. Well, even with Cam, you can come and go whenever you want. We don't have a vacation policy. You can take a vacation whenever you want.
So those 5 days are like, you're expanding those? 5 days locally?
You can, as long as your work is covered.
Always.
Hey, you know what? If you want to go to Portugal for 3 weeks and you take your laptop with you and you can do some work from there, maybe there's a discussion there. I don't know. But
man, I'm going to extend my trip. Jeez.
Gavin might have a bit more of an issue.
Yeah, he definitely
with taking that time off. But so we don't have a set policy. We believe that all of our employees are owners within the company. Come and go whenever you want. Everybody has a key to the studio. We believe in people being well rested. If you're not feeling well, you're sick, stay home, rest up, feel good. I think you guys have seen that already.
Mm-hmm. So like if you're sick, don't come here.
Yeah,
But
if you're sick, stay the fuck at home.
Yeah, because I'm going to follow you with Lysol wipes and maybe a Lysol spray.
Yeah. So how are you finding the transition from what people would see as a normal job to maybe a little bit different of a job?
Honestly, and it's not because you're sitting here and it's not to be cliche or anything, but I legit love my job. I don't know how else to explain it to people. Even when people ask me, they're like, you left your job that you were at for 7 years. And I was like, honestly, it was a challenging decision to make just because I get comfortable. Everywhere I go, I'm kind of a lifer. I was like that at Aaron Park. I was like that at my last job. But making the transition and coming here was literally probably one of the best decisions I've made. So I'm very, very happy. And it's funny because so many people will say, you're even happier than you were before. And I'm like, honestly, I actually love my job. Some people are like, oh my God, I hate my job. I can't wait till Friday. I'm like, honestly, I blink and it's Friday. And I'm like, it's already Friday. I love coming in here. I feel like I've inherited a whole bunch of brothers and a sister now, another sister.
Yes, so, Heather added to the team, has given you a sister.
Definitely. So it's been really
You guys
nice.
Get along quite well?
She's like the sweetest. She really is.
Yep.
And I love everybody on the team. I literally feel like I inherited like an additional family. Well, many more brothers mainly, but it's been really great. And I really do enjoy working here. every day is different. It's a new challenge, which I like. It's not the same thing every day, you know.
It really isn't, right?
It really isn't. Every property is different, and you deal with so many different people, and everybody's different. But it's been a lot of fun. It's been very different, but it's been amazing. So thank you.
Well, we're very glad to have you.
Thank you.
And you've been doing a great job.
Thank you.
So, what are you guys up to this weekend? You're doing open houses?
Yeah, I have open houses. I have inspection on a property that's closing later on in the month. So we have to do that. That's in
A revisit.
Yep.
Which we actually call a pre-delivery inspection.
Well, we have this is their first visit we're doing. There was a repair that needs to be completed. So
the microwave, is that right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So for those listening, the microwave wasn't working.
Yeah.
We put an amendment together that said better fix or replace that microwave prior to May 1st.
Yeah, 17 days prior to close.
Yep. So you're going there this weekend just to check up, make
Agent
sure
said it
everything's
was
working.
fixed. It was a simple fuse, but just want to double check that's done, and then we'll do the pre-delivery a couple days before actual close.
Yep.
So that's going on. Wrapping up a lease. I'll be wrapping up a lease I'm working with right now, and then
Any family time this weekend?
be
Not
pretty tight. I think Sunday morning I scheduled in a little bit of time, but that's about it. Just
Sunday mornings for me have become a whole new routine. So Sunday mornings, I let Natalie sleep in a little bit. She tries to take advantage. It's hard with the two boys, but I make breakfast, French toast.
Nice.
Every Sunday morning now, and
I'm coming for
what time
breakfast.
should we come over?
Yeah, I'm totally coming for
I've
breakfast.
taken a real liking to that routine. What do you got going on the weekend?
Lots of family stuff.
It's almost weekend time.
It really is.
We almost have to end this podcast and get back to work.
I know I have some stuff.
A lot
to
of
do.
family stuff,
A lot
yeah.
of family stuff. There's usually family stuff on the weekend, catching up,
Barbecues.
cleaning. Well, I have a friend that is visiting actually from Alberta. She came in for some family stuff that we have had going on this week.
Cam's like, stop talking. We're running out of battery.
Sorry, Cam. It's what happens when you start drinking. So we just like a lot of family stuff. Going to go visit my friend, have some people over, maybe go for dinner, hopefully hit up the casino. We'll see.
Casino? Which casino?
The one that's 10 minutes down the road because I don't want to
Mohawk.
drive to BF nowhere.
You guys know Mohawk has actual table games now?
I've only
Yeah,
been
that's a
there
problem
once.
now because we've discovered the tables.
Oh.
And
Blackjack?
yeah, no, Gavin's roulette.
Roulette.
Gavin loves roulette, and then we've discovered that
Do you
they
play
have
with him?
tables. I'll stand there and watch for a little bit, but like I'm kind of like the penny slot kind of girl because I'm cheap.
The penny slots.
Yeah, because I'm cheap. Like, come on.
I've been there once with you. It's the only time I've ever been to horse.
Oh, did we go to the Standard Breads?
Yeah, just once.
I don't remember.
Just
Was it
once?
after golf?
Yes, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stopped in just.
I love horse racing for. I don't think I talk about that
Not at all.
quite often. One of my good friends, Dan Loisel, he used to be the announcer at Woodbine. And so when I was single on weekends that I wasn't working or back in the auto dealership days, I would have Sundays off and I would head up to Woodbine to watch the thoroughbreds. And I love sitting in the grandstands there. I'd get myself some fried chicken and I would take my iPad and do some betting right there and watch the races. One of my favorite ways. In fact, I think the thoroughbred racing at Woodbine opens this weekend, or was it last weekend? It's somewhere around now.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so now, since moving to Milton, I head up to Mohawk once in a while to watch the standard breds, and that's good fun. A little bit different because the thoroughbreds, they're at a faster pace. They don't have the carriage, and it's a little bit of a different atmosphere, but. Good fun always at Mohawk, and now that they have the table games,
it's a problem.
I love blackjack. I love playing blackjack live, and I haven't been there yet since they've opened that up. But they're doing a lot of changes there, so that's
Oh, definitely. Like I'm kind
Scary.
of upset that I've discovered that they have tables now because Gavin's like, "What are we doing this weekend?" I was like, "Well, the casino's down
We
the
can't
road."
film there, but that might have to be a outing.
Yes.
another outing.
Yeah.
Maybe when we're staying at one of the cabins around the corner. bring some Jack Daniels with us and
A little bit of cottage life,
walk
a little bit of
over to the casino.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sounds like a wonderful evening.
Well, we got to get back to work here,
Yeah.
guys. Thanks for sitting in. Thanks for your help today in preparing that property.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. No
This
problem.
was episode 25, and have yourselves a good weekend.
Thank you. You too. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram and follow us wherever you may be listening.